For your viewing pleasure, this broadcast of the Municipal Council meeting of Alpena is made possible by the funding provided by the City of Alpena. Thank you for your generosity.
Good evening and welcome to the Alpena City Council meeting of June 18th, 2018. Call the roll, please.
Hess?
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
Nielsen is excused. Nowak?
Here.
And Walagora.
Here. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, modifications to the agenda. This evening I'd like to add the proclamation for the Amateur Radio Week under 9B, please. I don't know if
So
this-
moved.
Second.
Any others before any other modifications about it? Okay. When you're ready, Hannah.
Hess?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Nowak?
Yes.
And Walagora.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Okay, approval of the minutes of special session of May 24th, 2018, open and closed sessions of June 4th, 2018, and special session of June 7th, 2018.
I have one correction, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
On the June 4th minutes, we have listed on there that we're going into closed session to discuss the city manager's evaluation, and no, we did not do that.
No.
So,
I didn't pick up on that.
It's about beyond.
Do we need a motion for that?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Approve it.
Just
Okay.
Okay, citizens appearing before council on agenda and non-agenda items are allowed 5 minutes each to address your concerns. If you'd like to do so, please come to the podium and state your name and address for our records. This is the only time you're allowed to address council this evening. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, you did.
Yes, I do. I do have a statement. I handed it out to the press and all the council members. Read it very quickly. During the past week, articles and reports have appeared in the Alpena News and the local radio media, both on air and on their websites, concerning issues that have arisen, including cost overruns during the construction of the splash pad at Starlight Beach. Unfortunately, these have caused problems both internally for the involved city departments as well as for the general contractor and the Alpena Rotary Club that has so much invested in this project. Compounding the problem was the issuance of faulty information specific to these issues. The very nature of this project was unlike others conducted by the city. The splash pad itself was priced out separately as a package, including all material and specific labor. The general contractor bidding on and ultimately constructing the project was responsible for the total project, including the splash pad and ancillary work necessary to complete it. This led to questions as to what work required permits and what did not. The city engineering department, which is responsible for overall management of the project, found itself dealing with issues that normally require involvement by other city departments, most notably the building department and its various inspectors. Due to miscommunication and simple oversight, this did not occur until very late in the process after construction had begun, resulting in splash pad final plans being received by the building department after the fact. This necessitated changes in specific aspects of the plans relative to electrical and plumbing code requirements and the need for the associated permits. Receiving information from second and third-hand sources as to the need for these changes led directly to statements by city staff regarding changes in state law or code that ultimately were passed on to the media. Simply stated, there was no change in state codes. They are what they have been. This misinformation unfortunately was relayed to representatives of the Rotary Club by city staff, which then relayed it to the press in the course of an interview. All parties, contractors, subcontractors, city inspectors, and engineering staff have worked hard to resolve these issues to keep the project moving forward to completion within a very tight self-imposed timeline. Unfortunately, a series of meetings called by me to internally address these issues in order not only to put the project back on track, but ensure that it is fully in compliance with all applicable codes, had the opposite effect, creating only more confusion and frustration. For this, I accept full responsibility as city manager. It may be cliche to say the buck stops here, but it does. It's as simple as that. The building department and its inspectors have worked diligently to get the project in compliance with all codes under difficult circumstances, and they are to be commended. Engineering staff continues its project oversight to ensure that all elements of the total Starlight Beach project are completed per plans and codes. All cost overruns associated with these issues will be borne by the city. These are still being finalized at this time. As a result of the issues that have arisen on this and another project, I have ordered a complete review of our internal processes, procedures, and protocols as they relate to the issuance of permits, authorization to proceed with construction, inspections, and general coordination between involved city departments. All necessary changes will be made both to bid documents and contracts in order to avoid such occurrences in the future. City Council will be kept fully apprised of these efforts. Again, I wish to apologize to all those that have been affected by this unfortunate and unnecessary situation. It should not have happened. It did, and it is being rectified. I also apologize to the media and Rotary representatives for the misinformation you received and reported upon. We have learned a hard yet valuable lesson that will benefit us moving forward. Ultimately, we must not lose sight of the fact that in the end, the city, its residents, and visitors will soon be able to enjoy our splash pad and the associated improvements throughout Starlight Beach for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Greg. I really appreciate that. Anyone else this evening? Okay, on the consent agenda this evening, A, bills to be allowed in the amount of $580,502.85. B is a budget amendment request, Police Department, $911 from assigned fund balance for DARE vehicle equipment. Excuse me. C is a budget amendment request, Fire and Ambulance Departments, $3,000 to cover emergency repairs of a catch basin at the public safety facility. D is a budget amendment request, $3,425 transfer from Lights Department to cover maintenance expenses in the Parks Department. And E is a budget amendment request, $68,715 from general fund balance and $2,216 from water fund balance for retire health care funding.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Johnson?
Yes.
Noack?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
And Hess.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Okay, no presentations or announcements. I have a couple of proclamations this evening. First up is the Association of Lifelong Learners Week. A proclamation celebrating the Association of Lifelong Learners. Whereas learning is an inherent human attribute, and whereas learning is a lifelong endeavor, and whereas learning improves the health and well-being of individuals of all ages and groups, and whereas learning has been shown to extend the cognitive skills for people for a lifetime, and whereas social interactions and intergenerational activities are part of a lifelong learning, and whereas the Association of Lifelong Learners at Alpena Community College supports and provides numerous opportunities for people of all ages to learn, and whereas the Association of Lifelong Learners at Alpena Community College was formed in 1998, and whereas the Association of Lifelong Learners at Alpena Community College has been in continuous operation for 20 years now. So now, therefore, I, Matthew J. Walagora, by the virtue of authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Alpena, do hereby proclaim June 24th through the 30th of 2018 as Association of Lifelong Learners Week in the city of Alpena. There's some members of the Lifelong Learners here. Oh, just come right up here with and people more interested in the Lifelong Learners Program should contact who at where? Alpena Community College? Judy Houston?
You're on.
Is that on the ACC website?
I'm gonna fit it in. I'm gonna fit it in.
ACC website, Facebook.
Squeeze in a little up there. Yeah.
Oh, come in a little bit this way.
There you go.
You should do 2 levels. Let's make it 4.
Hi, no,
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Okay, next up is Amateur Radio Week presentation and proclamation. We have Dick Whittela, the Secretary of the Association here. He's going to give us a brief presentation on the event.
Mayor Walagora, council members, and city officials, thank you for taking the time to recognize amateur radio community here in Alpena. My name is Dick Whittela. I'm the secretary of the Thunder Bay Amateur Radio Club, and this is Jim Miller. He is our vice president. This weekend, the members of Thunder Bay Amateur Radio Club will participate in National Amateur Radio Field Day exercise at the Alpena County Fairgrounds. This is an annual event that has been held on the last full weekend of June since 1933. Ham radio operators across North America have established temporary ham radio stations in public locations during field day to showcase the science and skill of amateur radio. For more than over 100 years, amateur radio, sometimes called ham radio, has allowed people from all walks of life to experiment with electronics and communication techniques, as well as provide a free public service to their communities during a disaster, all without needing a cell phone and internet. Field day demonstrates ham radio's ability to work reliability under any conditions for almost any location and create an independent communications network. This year, it is estimated more than 40,000 people from thousands of locations will participate in field day. In today's electronic do-it-yourself DIY environment, ham radio remains one of the best ways for people to learn about electronics, physics, meteorology, and numerous other scientific disciplines. And it's a huge asset to any community disasters if the standard communication infrastructure goes down. Anybody can become a licensed amateur radio operator. Over 750,000 licensed hams in the United States, as young as 5 years old and ones that are over 100 years old, with more than 20,000 in Michigan alone. We'd like to extend an invitation to Mayor Walagora, council members, city officials to stop by the Alpena Fairgrounds to see amateur radio in action. We start operations at 2 p.m. this Saturday and continue throughout the night and into Sunday. So we'd love to have you stop by even just for a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick.
Thank you very much.
I have a proclamation as well, if you'll wait, sir. Whereas amateur radio operators are celebrating over a century of the miracle of the human voice broadcast over the airways, and whereas amateur radio has continued to provide a bridge between peoples, societies, and countries by creating friendships and sharing of ideas, and whereas amateur radio operators have also provided countless hours of community service, both in emergencies and to other local organizations throughout these decades, and whereas these amateur radio services are provided wholly uncompensated, and whereas the state also recognizes the services amateur radio's people also provide to our many emergency response organizations, including the American Red Cross, the Salvation Army, Search and Rescue, and others. And whereas these same individuals have further demonstrated their value in public assistance by providing free radio communications for local parades, bike-a-thons, walk-a-thons, fairs, and other charitable public events. And whereas the city of Alpena recognizes and appreciates the diligence of the hams who also serve as weather spotters in the Skywarn program of the U.S. Government Weather Bureau. And whereas the ARL is a leading organization for amateur radio in the USA, And whereas ARRL Amateur Radio Field Day exercise will take place on June 23rd to the 24th, 2018, and is a 24-hour emergency preparedness exercise and demonstration of the radio amateur skills and readiness to provide self-supporting communications without further infrastructure being required. Now, therefore, I, Matthew J. Walagora, by the virtue of authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Alpena, do hereby officially recognize and designate June 18th through the 24th, 2018 as Amateur Radio Week in the city of Alpena. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. Okay, next up, report of officers, adoption of uniform guidance policies and procedures for federal awards administration.
Okay, that's me.
Oh, it's you.
Yep. The U.S. Office of Management and Budget issued grant reform rules titled Uniform Administrative Requirements, Cost Principles, and Audit Requirements for Federal Awards, which require all subrecipients of federal funds to establish and maintain internal controls designed to reasonably ensure compliance with federal laws, regulations, and program compliance requirements. One area that had significant changes is procurement. Some of the procurement general standards include: every non-federal entity receiving federal awards must have documented procurement procedures that reflect federal law, uniform guidance standards, and any state regulations. Entities must avoid using federal funds for the acquisition of unnecessary items. Written conflict of interest policies are required. Entities must document the procurement steps and activities required to be completed. The recipient of federal awards must maintain an appropriate level of oversight to ensure that contractors perform in accordance with the terms of their contract. Basically what it is incorporating the Federal Awards Administration into our own policies. So it's just merging them. Basically it's to make our auditors happy by June 30th.
And they must be by the end of this month.
Okay.
So that's why they're here.
Mhm.
Recording
And you need us to take action?
Yes.
Okay.
it. To approve.
Yeah, if we don't have them in place, we could risk being ineligible to receive
Well,
federal
well,
grants.
Okay.
Let's get them in place. I move we approve the policies and procedures for federal grant administration.
Second.
Nowak?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
Hess?
Yes.
And Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Anna. Down to new business. A is the Michigan Department of Transportation Contract 185289 for reconstruction of Miller Street. I was just reading, the next one is Miller Street Construction Engineering Services, so I'm assuming. Rich,
The city's
please.
received the contracts between the Michigan Department of Transportation and the city of Alpena for funding for the Miller Street reconstruction project. Basically, what it does, it establishes the $325,000 that the Michigan Department of Transportation will be providing us through the small urban program, and then the city will be providing the matching funds out of our sewer, water, and local street funds to finish the construction. Project will be bid by the Michigan Department of Transportation, and they will be billing us for our portion of the project. They pay the contractor, and then they bill the city for our portion only. The project is currently being bid through the MDOT with a bid opening slated for July 13th, 2018. Construction is slated to be completed this fall. It's my recommendation to city engineer that the city council approve MDOT contract 18-5289 by resolution, committing the local match funds and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute the agreement on behalf of the city.
And then at that point, they pretty much take over. And it's-
Yes.
Okay. Do you oversee that as well, too?
Well, that's what the next part is.
Oh, okay.
We gotta take care of this one.
And this is similar to what we did on Grant
Grant
Street.
Street, yes,
Same
exactly.
thing.
Okay.
When we did that project.
Different funding source, but.
Okay.
Well, I move we approve MDOT contract 18-5289 by resolution.
Second.
Walagora?
Aye.
Hess?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
And Noak?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, next up, Miller Street Construction Engineering Services.
With the previous approval, the City of Alpena will, through a contract with Michigan Department of Transportation, be reconstructing Miller Street from Walnut Street to Second Avenue this fall. To comply with MDOT requirements, having certified inspectors on the job with the contractor and in the office filing the paperwork, the city must use the services of an outside consultant certified by MDOT to complete this work. To that end, the city solicited proposals from local engineering companies certified to perform this work and published it on our website. 3 proposals were received. Huron Engineering and Surveying, $52,770. Gordy Frazier Incorporated, $74,905. And R.S. Scott Associates, $79,500. And those represent 3.62 for the low bid, up to 5.45 of the total estimated construction cost for construction engineering, which is fairly low. While the hourly rates and estimated hours to complete the project vary between the consultants, Huron has considerable experience both overall with the MDOT local agency projects as well as specifically with the City of Alpena project funded through MDOT, Grant Street and the Second Avenue Bridge. We believe their hourly estimates are reasonable and the hourly rates are comparable to the other bidders. It's my recommendation as city engineer that City Council authorize using the services of Huron Engineering and Surveying per their proposal dated June 12, 2018 for a time and materials not to exceed cost of $52,770. Now, this cost is based on a project schedule of 10 weeks. If that does get drug out, they've estimated about 50 hours a week of time into that. So if it does get extended out beyond that 10 weeks due to the contractor's schedule, there may be an increase in this contract cost. We would bring that back to City Council to make them aware of it. However, we do not anticipate the project taking longer than the 10 weeks to complete. Funding to facilitate these services has been included in the budgeted line items for the Miller Street construction project in major street water and sewer.
I have no questions.
I move we approve the services of Huron Engineering and Surveying for the inspection service not to exceed $52,770.
Second.
Hess?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Noak?
Yes.
And Walagora? Motion carried.
I move we adjourn to closed session to discuss land water litigation.
Second.
Johnson?
Yes.
Noak?
Yes.
Walagora?
Aye.
And Hess?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Are you sure you don't want to talk about the city manager?